Hello everyone and welcome to the BoldChess show. I'm your host Roland, and in this video I'll be taking on the Stockfish chess engine at level 5 on leadchess.org, playing with the black pieces and using the Caro-Kann Defense opening. This is the 5th installment in our series on how to defeat Stockfish levels 1 to 6 as black. To ensure a consistent and educational experience, I will be using the Caro-Kann Defense in each video throughout the series. Be sure to watch the entire playlist and visit our website at boldchess.com, where you will find a step-by-step proven academy for chess improvement. Our program covers everything you need to excel in chess, including openings, endgames, tactics, puzzles, study plans, and much more. Now, let's dive into the challenge. Here we are at the chessboard, playing against Stockfish level 5 with the black pieces. Stockfish decided to go with the same opening like the previous matches, playing e4. We will proceed with the Caro-Kann defense. And as always, I've been playing c6 followed by d5 in almost all the games that I have played in this challenge. So I will continue with d5. So now we have the knight to c3. We have a number of options here. We can capture, we can develop the knight, we can possibly in some lines, you can even push the pawn to h6. We can also move the pawn to e6. I will go with the pawn, but I cannot currently develop the bishop before pushing the pawn. So one way to deal with this is to capture the pawn first, then develop the bishop, then push the pawn to e6. Otherwise, the path for the bishop will be blocked. So the correct move here should be capturing the pawn. And then we'll find a way to develop the bishop before playing the e6 line. We have the bishop here. It's eyeing and adding pressure to the f7 square. What options do we have here? We can just continue normally our development. We do need to, as we said, we do need to develop the bishop before playing the pawn. So we'll develop the bishop first to f5. And then in the next move, we will try to develop the pawn depending on how white responds. So white responded by playing his pawn to g4, attacking our bishop. Of course, we cannot capture back. There is a queen guarding this pawn. So we will need to retreat with the bishop. Going back will make us lose a tempo. We will stay on the same diagonal and eyeing on our pawn and protecting it, since it's currently under attack by the knight. So as we see, level 5 here is trying to trap our bishop. If we play something else, like let's say e6, we will get h5 coming, and our bishop will be trapped. So we do need somehow to protect our bishop. One common technique is to give one extra square, free square for the bishop to slide into, and that would be the h7 square. So level 5 went ahead and played the move anyway, which is h5, and we need just now to slide the bishop backward and keep eyeing on our pawn. And now we need to see what options do we have. I believe in this position we can just continue our development normally. Our initial plan was to move the pawn to e6 because that's what we're doing in the Caro-Kann defense. We can also challenge the bishop. This is also another idea. And then the move after, we can play e6. We can challenge the bishop. There is also common ideas of sliding the queens in some lines. I'm just thinking whether I should challenge the bishop first or whether play e6 first. I would like to play e6 probably first, because this bishop is adding pressure on this diagonal, and maybe later on in the game, if the queen decided to join the fight, this is a very weak pawn. The f7 pawn is always very weak. So I will block the bishop path first. And that will also help me in developing my own bishop. So he went backwards. Now the common moves are we need to develop the bishop somewhere. We can also develop the knights to either squares. I will go with the bishop in order to facilitate the castle king side. We have to castle king side as soon as possible and move the king to safety. Now we have f4, bishop to f4 on the board. Let's see what we can do. Was there any issues by developing the knights? I think we don't have any issues developing the knights. I'm a bit hesitant to move the knight to f6. And I'm not seeing a continuation of that position. I'm more leaning towards moving it to e7. But maybe f6 also works. We will check it after the match. I'm just going to go with knight to e7. And then I will look forward to castle king side and move my king to safety. Let's see what level 5 is willing to do here. So our pawn is hanging. Anything else? Any other tactics? The knight cannot jump forward. He can go to f4 though. But I don't really see any immediate threats. So I'll proceed with the plan of castling. He is now attacking our bishop. We need to move our bishop to safety. We can also capture the knight. We need to evaluate in this position whether our bishop is more important than his knight or not. And the bishop here, I don't think it's doing much. Exchanging the knight might be an option, or I can even slide it backwards and challenge his bishop, because his bishop is much more active than mine. Mine is not doing much here. So this is also another idea. Can also move the bishop backwards, which might invite b4. I will proceed with d6 for now, bishop to d6. And now we need to capture back. So I exchanged my bishop with his bishop. I believe his bishop was more active than mine. Mine was not doing much here. Another option was exchanging it with the knight. I just, I think removing the bishop from the king's side is a safe move. Let's see now what we can do, how we can proceed forward. What options do we have? Let's see. I'll start by developing the knights. I would like to connect the rocks and centralize them. So we'll go with the other knight to d7. Very well. So the queen is protecting the pawn and the knight. And this pawn is currently attacking our pawn at h6. The idea is that probably level 5 is looking forward to exchange this pawn, forcing us to capture back, and that will leave this file open for the rook later on to slide in, and he will be able to add much more pressure on our king side. So we need to evaluate this carefully. Capturing the pawn is not a good move because that will simply invite the queen or the knight forward, and that will add lots of pressure on the king side. We will need to evaluate the position here and see what we can do. If we can exchange these two queens, it will help us to simplify the position. I'm thinking of moving the pawn to e5. If he captured my pawn, I will have the option to capture the queen, and then I will recapture the pawn. This is one idea. So he did cancel queen side in this position. Very well. What can we do? I think we need to capture this pawn. So he did capture our pawn at h6. And now we have to think which piece to capture it with. Capture it with our queen or with our pawn. I think capturing it with the queen is better because this will challenge his queen, and I would welcome an exchange in this case. So I will capture it with the queen. He captured our queen, we have to capture back. So far without queens, there are simply no danger in this position. Our king will perfectly be safe. I can just slide it, and there are like simply no issues. I can, it's perfectly a holdable position for black. I don't think we have any advantage in this position yet. We still have to do lots of work to get a clear advantage. So let's see, he's now attacking our pawn. Let's protect our pawn by moving our knight. And he moved his rook to attack our knight here. So we will need to think what to do here. I will protect the knight by moving my pawn to b6. And what was the point of rook to b4? It's always wise when you're playing chess to think for your opponent and try to guess or analyze and calculate what are his motives and intentions of moving any piece. I don't really see the intentions here, so I will proceed forward. I'm going to one option is to attack his rook by moving my knight. I can also centralize my rocks. I would like to take control of this file. Maybe I'll start with that. And then we need to improve our position. Somehow we need to find the most accurate play here. This rook, if we can exchange it with our rook, it might improve the situation and elevate the pressure on the king side. Since I'm not seeing any immediate threats here on the queen side. Let's go with rook to g8 and see what he will do. So he's still interested to attack our knight, and if we move our knight, he will capture the pawn. Very well. This pawn is protected by our knight, so we cannot move our knight at the moment. Our knight is hanging. What would be a good move here? Let's start by exchanging the rocks first. He has to capture back. That's the only move. And now after capturing back, we need to move our knight to safety. We have two potential squares, knight to e6 and knight to b7. Knight to d7 is not an option for me because this will block the path for my rook. I would like to keep this file open and controlled by my rook. So for this reason, I would prefer to centralize my knight and move it towards the middle of the board instead of the edge of the board. And this will also give me more attacking chances. Let's see what we can do here. I'm not getting much of attacking ideas in this game. It's going to be a tough match. I don't think we have a clear advantage as well. I mean, we are controlling the center, but in terms of material, we have no advantage yet. So let's see what we can do. We cannot develop our knight now because the knight blocked our square. I was willing to go to f4 at some point, and that's not available anymore. I'm going to move my bishop to f5. Improve its position for a bit instead of being at the edge of the board. And now I can is there any immediate threats here? He is definitely attacking our pawn with two pieces. So we need to attack his rook to prevent that from happening. He cannot capture our pawn because his rook would be captured. So that will remove one attacker to our pawn here. Now we'll proceed on and we will improve the position of our knight at e7 by attacking his rook. Very well. What else we can do here? Maybe we can simplify the position and try to challenge his knight. Let's try that. He's now attacking our bishop. I will capture his bishop with my knight. And he has to capture back. And once he captures back, What would prevent me from capturing? Is there anything? It's better not to. It's better to keep our bishop on board. So because this is like an open board right now, so it would make more sense if we keep our bishop comparing to taking it off the board. Need to find other movements. Mhm. Trying to calculate some lines here, but I'm not finding the most. I'm not finding a precise movement here, just to give me a clear advantage. There is this little tactic here where we can attack his knight and threaten the pawn. This can be a very good idea. He protected it. I will just capture the knight. And once he captures back, he has to capture back. Once he captures back, I will I'm thinking of just checking his king. Let's check his king first. And now we will kind of slide our rook behind his pawn. That will definitely add more pressure to the position and it will help us. He's now attacking our pawn. We have to protect it. Let's push our second pawn forward, which is our f pawn to f5. He's bringing his king to the game, but we have a free pawn here to capture. Let's just do that first. And then we will see what to do. His knight is hanging. What was the point here? The point is that his knight was almost trapped, but I don't think this was the most accurate move. He should have moved his knight. I'm going to grab his knight. And then I will grab his pawn. I will challenge his rook now. Have to speed up a bit. Have only 1 minute. I will need to play a bit faster. Been taking my time here. Now we have a clear passed pawn here. Let's just push it forward. That will he cannot waste time capturing pawns, which he did. I don't know why, but he doesn't have much time anymore to stop my promotion. Of course, he can't check my king. I have two squares here. Uh, Probably the best square is to move it forward. He did capture my bishop, but then I'm queening anyway. So let's see what would be the fastest way here. Let's just move it to e4. And a checkmate should be coming soon. Let's move it again to e5. Very well. Now slide the rook. Okay, let's add more pressure and corner the king. He moved it to the corner. Now I'll just need to put it on c8. He will capture my pawn, of course. I will then slide my rook. And now we can simply move the rook to b7. And now we'll slide the queen. Very well. This was a very nice match. Let's see the analysis. So we played the Caro-Kann defense. Stockfish was recommending developing the knight first. We developed the bishop. Then we moved the bishop backwards. Stockfish here was recommending to push the pawn, our h pawn, 2 squares instead of 1. That is more accurate. If he captured our pawn, this is not good for him because our bishop is protected by our rook and we will be attacking his queen. So moving on, we are Stockfish is recommending here also the knight. It's also another potential movement. Another play here is to like how we did, it's also a passable move. Knight to f6 seems to be better according to Stockfish compared to e7. We castled. It seems here capturing the knight is much better than exchanging the bishops. We did take that into account when evaluating the position. Then for some reason I decided that the bishop is more dangerous than the knight. But according to the engine, the knight is much better. And we lost almost 3 points here with this move. From 3.8 to 0.7. But nevertheless, the position was still pleasant. We're still balanced. Still perfectly playable. Now here Stockfish is recommending the pawn to e3 to attack the queen. The line is that if he captures back, his king will be open. And that will add lots of pressure on the king side. And he won't be able to castle at all as well. So we captured the pawn, we captured with the queen, we had a queen exchange here. We had to slide the king. Knight to e5 was the correct move here. We are threatening a fork. This is much more accurate. He will need to prevent that from happening. Then we can proceed forward to expand on the king side. We protected the knight. We should have moved the knight back instead of protecting it, more accurate. Then we exchanged rocks and a better move would be rook to g8 to take control over this file and attack the bishop. That will also pin this knight to this knight. I miss here the pawn? I think I did calculate this line. Let me see what the engine is recommending here. I think I missed this move during the game. The knight was defending the pawn, but it turns out also that it is a passable move. We scrolled backward too much. Let's just go back to see where we were. So it's okay to allow this. And the point being is that our knights will be very active, and then we can add lots of pressure on the king side, and he won't have enough time to return back to defend. This is a long line, but very educational. Very well. In the real game, I did not see that. Nevertheless, this line never played out, so we did not need to worry about it. And now here it was a very straightforward game. It's just about converting our advantage. And the fastest way to checkmate the king here, we had a checkmate in 5 as follows, where we needed to slide the rook first and then deliver the checkmate in the at the f5 square. It took me a little bit longer here to do it, but ultimately it was a very educational game. The key moments here is that you need to know in the Caro-Kann defense the order of the movements, the ideas, how to develop, how not to lock your bishops, develop them to active squares, put your knights on good squares, centralize, connect the rocks when you can, achieve castle king side. Those are all basic opening principles. And as long as you're not blundering in the game against level 5, you should overall be able to recover, even though you might not find the optimal moves all the time. As long as we have a very good board awareness and we are calculating the basic tactics, we should be able to defeat this level. We hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you so much for watching.